We're gonna stand our ground. We know you're trying to open the gates of hell, but we won't back down. So yes, we'll stand our ground. We won't be pushed around. We must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back.
There's Philip with Philip Van Cleve and Jared Yanis. Yeah, it switched to the wrong 3 speakers. Sorry. Technology is our friend, right?
Yes, it is. Just like the BATF is our friend.
Yes. Anyway, welcome, Jared. I'm excited to have you with us tonight.
Excited to be
Yeah.
here. Thanks for having me.
And
Yeah.
even more exciting news, I'm thrilled that you're going to be one of our speakers at Lobby Day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a good time coming up there, watching y'all do what you do with VCDL and the amount of people who show up and actually take part of the process. And Lord
You're
knows
gonna have it.
again.
You're gonna make it there for the pre-lobby day dinner, or are you still gonna be in another part of Virginia?
I'll be there for the day before. Yep,
Great. Yeah, give people a chance to shake your hand and stuff. That'd be great.
absolutely.
See, Al Steed's in there. How are you doing, Al?
Yeah, Al Steed is one of our executive members and was on the board for quite a while and ran the Salem and Roanoke gun shows for as long as I can remember.
Yeah,
Just
and
handed
for
that.
starters, he did a
Yeah.
lot of VCDL meetings out. He was our big guy out and still is kind of out in the Roanoke area.
Yeah, everybody, let us know where you're tuning in from in the chat there, and we get people from all over, and it's fun to see where you're from. So, Philip, I didn't get a list from you of things that you wanted to talk about. I'm sure Lobby Day's on the list, and
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure Jared
Yeah.
has some things that he wants to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, and Jared's up on a lot of the national things that have been going on. If you're not a subscriber to Jared's channel, you need to do that. He does all the breaking news. I mean, it's barely breaking before anybody hears about it. Jared's up there and has got a detailed analysis. I don't know how you do it so fast. Detailed analysis. And he doesn't leave it up to you to kind of figure stuff out. He'll, he even reads sections of bills, so you know exactly what it says and all that stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, we certainly do. Lobby Day is going to be a big topic. We've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bills for VCDL so far lined up to go in, where we've got patrons that are putting them in for us. We've got so far 3 gun control bills. 2 are identical, and Jared did an analysis, as I recall, on SB2 and HB2 already. And then the other one that came in is I asked Pat, and I said, what are they doing different here? It requires that when you sell a handgun, that there's a lock in the box, and you have to have a statement on there that says, if a kid gets a hold of this in your house, that you could be in legal trouble or whatever. It's like locks are already required by federal law. And there's already a safety brochure and everything else that comes with it. There's nothing specific to Virginia, but keeping your guns away from somebody that's not qualified to hold a gun is always a criteria. I mean, that's so anyhow. That's another one that popped up. They're going to start moving fast. Right now, there's only 3 bills, but it's going to be a big number.
Some of those bills that they're passing in the states about the locks and stuff like that, they're doing that because local and state police can't charge federal crimes or violations of, so they're just looking for another way to jam people up.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. But it adds expense for dealers. I talked to Pat about that. He says, they want a sticker on the gun too that says,
affixed to the gun, and a separate sheet in the box with the gun that has in all capital letters specific verbiage.
Because we know that people that are can't be trusted to do things safely are going to read this and change their ways. This is going to make
if we should just make murder illegal.
Yeah, it's along that line.
Concept. Yeah, how about rape, robbery, and all of that stuff while you're at it?
No, just ban guns and stops all of it, right?
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
Why don't we ban full moons? Because every time there's a full moon, crime goes up, right?
Yeah. Did you notice that too, Jared? I mean, that was something I learned real quick when I was a deputy. They said, full moon, we're going to be busy tonight. It was like magic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people come out and they howl.
Rights and Traditions has a point there. The founders were often quoted as boasting that our skills with arms were thanks to our practice from childhood.
Yeah.
So, and if you haven't watched her, there's an 11, just turned 11 last week, year-old girl on YouTube called Autumn's Armory. She is a hoot.
Yep, she's good people too, or she's doing it the right way. There's also 2 young brothers, the 2A boys. They're out there at every event we go to, and they're about knee high to a grasshopper, and they're out there showing great skill, great safety, and it's the parents. Imagine if parents could actually bring their kids up the right way, we wouldn't have a lot of the problems we have now.
Yeah, it is such a complex issue, but I am just so sick of all this gun control stuff. And I plan to really, bring a lot of this up in conference, just saying, look, in committee, this is an enumerated civil right. Why are you guys against an enumerated civil right? Or are we trying to relive the 1860s when you were trying to keep black people from having guns? Is that what we're trying to relive here?
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say, those of you that support this bill, don't ever tell me ever again that you don't want to take guns, because you're taking guns. This is taking guns. Yes, I can keep the guns I have now, but all future guns, those 18-year-olds, that people turning 18 that want to buy a new rifle, they won't be able to buy a new AR. They will not be able to do it unless they pay an absolute fortune for it. You're taking guns. You're just delaying it. So don't tell me anymore, nobody wants to take your guns. Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah.
Just be honest.
By the way, saying that you can keep your gun but you can't ever sell it is a taking as well, because they took the value of the gun from you.
Right.
I don't know that I think you can still sell these. I think the way it is now, like I tell people, don't go with this much, because to tweak a few words and it could be a total ban. And they can do that in committee in a blink of an eye. Or what I think they're planning is next year they'll come back and they'll say, okay, we need to back this up. If you bought your gun prior to 2000, then you can keep it, and then pretty soon it'll be gone. They're not giving up till our guns are gone. And the want to take our guns has just been skyrocketing. Everywhere we look, the ATF has gone berserk, knocking out dealers left and right, coming up with all kinds of stuff they're pulling out of their ear that are not It's not something they can do. All these states like, Massachusetts and New York that are doing everything they can, and Maryland, take away our rights to restrict things as far as they can. It's all really escalating right now. Just watching this rocket take off and go into space. Somebody's decided that we're getting close to the time they want our guns taken away to move on to the next step in the agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
So they on the left hand is taking away gun dealers' licenses from dealers for things that, by the way, the ATF does way worse things, and they don't lose their license, but they're taking away gun dealers' licenses for clerical errors like misspelling a name or something like that, or transposing a date. And then on the other hand, they're telling people if you sell more than one gun, or if you make a profit on that one gun that you sell, you now have to become a dealer and get a license. So which is it? Do you want more dealers, or do you want to take all the dealers out of commission? Or is it both and you want to make it impossible for people to sell guns?
I think it's both. Oh, you want to sell your gun? Well, too bad. You don't qualify for an FFL. Unfortunately, you live in the wrong area. You got the wrong zoning, whatever. I would imagine being an FFL, you have to have an even cleaner background than maybe just a regular gun owner. I don't know, Pat, is that true or not? I'm sort of thinking that they're
Yes, absolutely. Because when we got our FFL, of course, we owned guns prior to getting the FFL. And when they did the background check on us for our license, they came to us with something that was from my husband's teenage years, that was just something stupid that had never been a disposition entered into the books. It was somebody had sworn out a false arrest warrant. And so there was this warrant hanging out there for 40 years. And that had to be cleared up before we could get our license. But it didn't prevent them from buying a gun. So,
But that's what I'm saying. They can come along and say, "Oh, well, sorry, you can't be an FFL because of something. You can own a gun, but you can't sell your gun because you can't be an FFL." It's
right.
it's all marching in the same direction. It's all marching there. Just different angles, different attacks. We're being surrounded, basically. But what was that famous general that said, the poor bastards have us surrounded?
Yeah. Yeah, Rockstar says never sell your guns, just put it away and buy another one. As much as I would like to adopt them all, sometimes there's just not room.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one thing about it in Virginia, you can give your gun away. As long as you don't get anything in return, you don't have to. Then you can get a. You don't have to do the universal background check, but you cannot get anything in return. They can't mow your lawn for you or whatever. It's got to be a pure gift.
yeah.
But
So,
their
Jared,
family members, they'd probably be happy to accept it.
one of the things I appreciate about your channel, Jared, is that you actually read bills and point out the parts of the bills. You probably read more bills than the Congress critters do. And I have seen you live stream committee hearings from the Hill. And I know that's got to make your ears bleed and your eyes bleed and everything else. But you sit in there for the duration just in case something happens for the rest of us. And so that you can let us know right away. And gosh, do I appreciate that.
Thank you. It means a lot because some of the ones, I mean, I've done a couple hearings that have lasted 13, 14 hours. Like last session when they passed the assault weapon ban, I was live streaming for 14 hours, and that's a
I
long
watched
day.
a lot of that.
That's
I
a long
watched
day
a
to
lot
sit
of that.
there and suffer through that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We sit in state committee meetings and I know how torturous it is. And it's even worse on the Hill, I'm sure.
Well, it's tough because they try to, as you guys and gals know, they sneak stuff in so many different avenues and to try to stay on top of all of it. You know, you can't catch all of it, but my goal is to try to catch enough of it so that people are aware of what's going on and can be part of the fix rather than us being, reactive, doing something that we hope we never have to do.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the point of what you're doing is you're getting people involved early on. It's not like, well, that Congress has passed this and now we've got to do that. You're getting them in the system, and you've got 660,000 people following just on Facebook alone. I think you have some other rather large presences around other media, but that's a lot of people that you're making this interesting enough for them to get involved in the system at that level. And it's not easy. Listen to some of the things they say. Like I say, the blood starts pouring out of your ears because it's so absurd. Your head wants to blow off your shoulders because it's absolutely asinine.
Right.
And they say it with a straight face. They're sitting there going, "Wow, you guys should be actors. Maybe you are actors. I don't know, but."
That I choose to believe that they are, because it's hard to believe that a lot of them believe the stuff that they're saying. I mean, some of it is just so ludicrous. But
Well, they're paid very well to have those opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Boy, they make a lot of money, millions of dollars in a short period of time. It's quite a salary they got there, huh?
Yeah, it's not a bad structure.
Yeah. So you brought up a point, though, Jared. You have to watch, like, a funding bill for school cafeterias could carry gun control in the federal government. We're fortunate in Virginia that whatever is in the bill has to be germane to the title. So you can't take a bill about creating a park and add gun control to it unless it actually pertains to the park you're creating. So they can't take a bill saying school lunches get an extra straw with their milk and then add gun control to it. It doesn't work that way.
That's the way it should be, you would think. But I mean,
yes.
She's famous for saying it, Nancy Pelosi. You got to pass the bill to know it's in the bill, right?
That's it.
That was absolutely horrifying when I heard her say that.
Yeah,
but very accurate. Again, Pat hit it right on the head. These guys don't read the bill. You read it. You would be a much better legislator than they are. You would actually know what you're legislating on. I mean, that's almost unheard of on the Hill.
That's one of the reasons when I push people to call so often, and I tell them, tell your legislator what the bill is and what it says, because they don't know. It's tough for anybody to know all the bills, period, anyway, never mind read them all, because they do so many omnibus support package. Give them a 24-hour window to pass it and stuff like that. So when you do call, and even on the state level, when you're calling and talking to your legislators, it's helpful if you know what the bill number is, what the name of it is, and have a working knowledge of it, so you can just jump right to the facts and get them where you need them to be.
So Michael Dalton has a question for Jared. He says, have you heard anything about 98% of gun buybacks are not destroyed, but are repurposed as parts and resold?
Yeah, I've heard that. That's something that's come out in the last 24, 48 hours. I fulfilled a promise to my wife, and I have unplugged for the last 28 hours. So I have done no work related to it. And I'm starting to have shakes and twitches. But it gets to you. It gets to you.
Happy wife, happy life, too.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Plus, you guys know you fight constantly, and it just sometimes you just need a day to recharge. But I'll dig into that. I do know there are several locations that have gotten in trouble. They're supposed to destroy or actually auction off buyback guns, and they weren't doing it, or they kept them in different evidence lockers and stuff like that. So they're getting caught in their own game right now. So it wouldn't surprise me if that a majority of them are chopped up or sold off some different ways.
But it's hilarious because they act like there's a fixed number of guns. And so if they're buying them up, then there's less of them. It's like, no, manufacturers say, okay, we'll crank out another 50 to make up for the 50 that you just destroyed. It's like, great, keep up the good work there, government. We're making money hand over fist.
Yeah, who was it in California that said once they shoot the 30 rounds out of the magazine, it'll be done? You can't reload it. It's over with.
Yeah, it might be the same guy that came up with ghost guns. He came up with that term. I think it might have been the same idiot.
Yeah, I think it was. That's the one who called the 30 caliber clip.
Yes.
Yeah, that's dope.
Multiple caliber clip. I forget what it was. It was something really twisted. He picked some random words from guns and threw them together and said, look at this. It's like, oh, okay. Woo! Where do I get one of those?
Yeah, the fully semi-automatic magazine clip muzzle device. Yeah. And by the way, folks, Jared's been nominated for 2 different spots in the Gundies. So if you appreciate his work, you can pop over there and vote for him. So,
Yeah, I'd appreciate that if y'all would. Some stiff competition there, so you can vote every day, and every time you there's 1 week left, and every time you vote, you're entered to win a prize from the sponsor of each category. So the more you vote, the more options you get to win.
And where is this one, Jared?
They're going to be out at SHOT Show here. So it's
So where do people vote? Where do people vote?
thegundies.com.
Thegundies.com. Okay. Ah, yeah, the 30 caliber clip in half a second. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah.
It just all goes off at once. Boom. 30 shots. Yeah, it's funny, but see, we laugh at this stuff because they're such total idiots, but then they pass this stuff.
Yeah, because they
believe
it.
They want to believe it. I don't know. Or they think we'll believe it if they pass. I don't know what they're doing, but
well, I think they prey on, like, you're lucky in Virginia that a lot of people are vested in the legislative process. I lived in Massachusetts for far too long, and people will believe what they're told rather than to do the work, and read a bill, or, double check, or even, verify. They'll just trust. They never verify. So that's what you're seeing a lot of those legislators do. Like the 30 caliber clip guy, his name was Kevin De Leon out of California.
Ah, yes, that's him.
He didn't know what he was talking about. He was throwing some talking points and got them all screwed up in his head. So they don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to get to an ultimate goal.
Well, they don't teach civics anymore either. They don't teach civics. A lot of people don't really know how government works and what you can and can't do, and how to read a bill or anything like that.
Right.
So that's all the dumbing down. There's a good reason to dumb a population down. That's how you control them, because they don't know better. They have no idea.
Yep, and that's one of the things that VCDL Academy is doing, is teaching people how bills become law, what the Second Amendment actually means, and why it is still relevant today, firearm safety, all kinds of things. So Al joined us here, and he's the engagement director for the VCDL Academy. Open to everybody, but our focus is also reaching out to a younger audience and getting the new up and coming gun owners, the high school, college age, teaching them some of the stuff that's left out of our education system today. So, and how to be good citizen lobbyists. Let's see. I got Rockstar saying Lobby Day turnout is going to be crucial this year.
And he's making the point he makes is that it's also it's a testament. I like how he wrote how that was said. It's a testament to our commitment in retaining our rights.
Absolutely.
So a handful of people show up, the General Assembly looks at it and goes, "Well, I don't seem to be much interest out there." And if a lot of people show up, then that gets their attention. So, but we're dependent on gun owners to do it. We're dependent on them. We can't make them do it.
Yep, absolutely. So William Pearson, Wild Bill, says they have never understood that once the Second Amendment is gone, so is the First Amendment, and then we will all be working in the same rice paddies. Yeah, I don't know about rice paddies, but free men own guns, slaves don't,
Right.
So that was the primary purpose of the Second Amendment, is to maintain our freedom. Like Rockstar says, eternal vigilance. That is the price of freedom.
Well, Jared, talk to us a little bit about what you've kind of been seeing over the last month overall at the federal level. I mean, what's going on all around Virginia? It's sort of an overview. It seems to be mostly moving in our direction as far as the courts go.
It is, yeah. So we're getting a lot of victories in the states, and we're starting to get a lot more victories in the post-Bruin era. And of course, I'm referencing New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, the Supreme Court decision that pretty much put everything back to the way it should be, where text, history, and tradition is what would dictate whether a government passed law was constitutional or not. And we're starting to see the ripple effects. A lot of things have been challenged once that decision came down. Now we have a victory in the 18 to 20-year-old category, where a federal district court judge said, you can't tell people who are 18, 19, and 20 that they can't get a handgun because you're violating their Second Amendment. So that was appealed, and they did
Yes,
put
it was.
a stay. And my guess is they're going to get the stay, just because that would bring up another issue. The NICS background check system is set automatically to reject if somebody is under 21 years old. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. We also have a major case that was just heard before the Supreme Court, Rahimi, which said that if someone's under a domestic violence restraining order, civil order, that they don't automatically lose their rights, their Second Amendment rights. You have to actually be found guilty. I will agree with everybody out there who is familiar with that case. Rahimi is not who we want as a perfect shining beacon to challenge this law, because he's a bad dude. Has done a lot of
And
bad.
I think that's why they picked him. That's why the judges picked that to get that into a higher court. It wasn't to be because they truly felt that the Second Amendment would protect them. They wanted the worst possible case to go up there to start to reverse some of this and say, well, okay, yeah, maybe New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin, maybe we have to put some more stricter limits in there to keep bad guys like that from having guns. That was intentional. This is not a good thing.
No, I agree it was intentional too, because now you're putting someone who's a person who has had a history of being a violent criminal, and now you're asking judges to say that person is or should have his Second Amendment, which he absolutely should, because at the time he was jammed up, he didn't get found guilty for a lot of the things that are on his record now. So it's a tough case, but that has also brought a lot of the challenges for the 922G sections in federal law as being not constitutional. And those are all the federal prohibitions that were not there during the text when the Constitution was written. They're certainly not part of history and tradition of firearm regulation around the adoption of the Second Amendment in the 1790s. So the way the Bruin decision has said that's all unconstitutional, and you're starting to see some of that stuff be chipped away right now.
And what they've done over the years, especially in my lifetime, is they've created all these felonies. It used to be felonies were pretty rare. Those were murder, rape, robbery. These were when somebody was a felon, it's like, okay, you stood away from that person because you knew they were downright evil. But that all over time that changed, and now you pick up the wrong eagle feather in a forest, and you could be charged with a felony for merely possessing a feather.
Yep.
There's all kinds of crazy things like that. It doesn't mean you're an evil person that shouldn't have any gun rights anymore. But that's what's changed.
By the way, if you're that dangerous to society, what are you doing out on the street?
Exactly.
Exactly.
You take a tiger and put him on the streets, that tiger is going to kill people. That's what he does. And these evildoers that are shooting people up, it's a small group, really. But as long as they're on the street, you're not safe. But it's them. It's not the gun. The gun doesn't chase you down, but they will. But again, that's all part of it. It all fits. It's a big puzzle that all comes together. How do you get rid of guns? You raise the crime rate. How do you get the crime rate up? You defund police. You don't back up the police. You let violent criminals out of jail early. You make it harder for people to carry guns. All of this drives the crime rate up. You give them a rotating justice system where there's not even bail. And all of that is pushing us all in the same direction, to where they've got to take our guns away because of crime. The whole picture fits it, but you have to stand back a ways and look at the whole mosaic, and you can see what's being done and why we better damn well fight this.
Absolutely. Otherwise, Lexington and Concord will happen again.
Yeah, they're playing for keeps, and we need to play for keeps.
Yep. So Bandit 848 pointed out that Miranda of Miranda Rights was not a nice guy either. So,
True.
maybe the court will look at the circumstances and not.
It could backfire. I mean, it could
It could.
backfire. Or
Yeah.
maybe lemonade is made from lemons.
Hmm.
So
Well,
we'll
in
see.
the Miller case, he was not
Yeah.
a good person either.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
that ruling would have come to, but again, it was a similar thing, Pat. That whole
uh-huh.
thing was set up because they thought because he wasn't a good person that the Second
Right.
Amendment would have been obliterated. They didn't do that in Miller, but they did say that like sawed-off shotguns aren't covered because they weren't useful to a militia. But in many ways, it was actually a decent ruling. But that was
Right.
set up. Same thing. The judge sent it over there thinking now we're going to knock down the Second Amendment. It just
Right.
didn't quite work out the way he'd hoped.
Yep. So stranger things have happened. We'll see what happens with Rahimi. Um, there's a lot going on, a lot of exciting stuff and a lot of scary stuff. So, but
Yeah,
I'm
we're
glad to
being
be
jerked in
alive in
different
these
directions.
times. Yeah. So, we do have a question about Lobby Day here, which we'll get to later, but I want to address it before we get too much further down in the chat here.
Okay.
Husky Mom is asking about buses. So if you have not already done so, go on the VCDL website and on the Lobby Day pages, on the transportation page, there is a bus survey. Go ahead and fill that out for us if you're interested. It's not a commitment. But it gives us an idea of where people are interested in signing up to take a bus for Lobby Day. So we've had quite a few responses, but it will help us a lot if you can go on there in the next couple of days and fill that out so we can get quotes on buses and send out actual reservation forms.
Be nice if we can get 22,000 people to show up again, huh?
No, it'd be
Yeah,
wonderful.
that was
Yeah.
the biggest 22,000. That's like chicken math. I don't know how many of you have chickens, but chicken math is this thing where you go down to Tractor Supply or wherever and you're going to buy like 2 chicks and you come home with 20. So, and then somebody else has some, so you get 20 more, and all of a sudden you've got 50 chickens and you only wanted like 2. So,
That sounds like
yeah.
guns with me.
Uh-huh.
The secret to guns is you if you buy a similar type, then your wife doesn't really know that it's a different gun. It's got to look kind of the same.
Yeah,
And
well,
don't let her in where the guns are. Make sure that room is locked for security reasons.
Steve's got a worse problem. Any gun that comes into the house, I get first dibs on it.
Well,
So he came home from a hunting trip one day, and they had stopped by some little country store that sold guns. And he walks in with a 30-30 rifle, and he says, "Look what I bought you." And I said, "Cool, give it here." And he's like, Let's see. What does Freedom Steel say? I think we will get more than we lose in the Rahimi case. If they hold Range Barrett or Gorsuch writes it, defines dangerous, tosses government ideas of disarming non-responsible individuals.
Hopefully,
talking about the
it's tough to predict anything the court's going to do.
Yeah.
Because there have been times where I thought we would have slam dunks, and Barrett, Gorsuch have gone other ways. So they sided with the liberals. So you just never know until the decision comes out, and I assume this will be one of the last things they give us next June before they head out the door at the end of the term.
So
we've got more lined up.
Yeah, Bandit's asking about Lobby Day. It is the 15th. It is always on the third Monday in January, which is Martin Luther King Day. Yes, it is a holiday. Yes, they are in session. So,
Yes. Yeah, we do get that a lot.
Uh-huh. If you're driving into Richmond and you park on the street, you don't have to feed the meters because it is a holiday. If you're parking in a parking garage, make sure it's not a state garage or that you don't have guns, because State garages are one of those defense-free zones that they have actually codified. Brandon Howard is doing his gun check this year again. So if you're taking a bus and you want to arm on the bus and you want to check your guns before you go into lobby, you can sign up in advance. All of the information is on the lobby day pages on the website. Let me put the information up for you. I'm just so organized, aren't I? There we go. Yeah, so that page right there has links to all the good stuff about Lobby Day 2024 and links to how a bill becomes law, what the General Assembly schedule is. There's a link on there to our legislative bill tracker that is starting to populate now that the bills are coming in. And that is a really handy tool because you can click on a bill and actually click on the committee meeting for that bill, the committee it's assigned to once it gets assigned to a committee. And then it has the names of everybody in the committee, and you click on the name and you can get the email of the person in the committee. So very handy tool to have.
Yeah, and the question was asked about, is there any place you can open carry on Lobby Day? The Capitol Square itself is off limits. Obviously, the General Assembly, which have got the new building, so we'll all be going to a building none of us have been in, the brand new General Assembly building. It should be very nice inside. This was, designed from scratch to be a General Assembly building, so hopefully we'll have decent sized meeting rooms. I'll probably get a little mini tour when I go down to get my lobbyist badge, probably next week. So I'll try to get as familiar as I can with the building. But so no, there isn't going to be a lot. However, I will say this: there's a video out there that showed Antifa 757, or no, BLM, excuse me, not Antifa, BLM 757, Black Lives Matter 757, which is down Tidewater. They were marching carrying guns last year in an area right near in fact, it was on a street marching down the sidewalk that went right beside what then was the temporary General Assembly building, and none of them were bothered, which is great, But my question to the state police or the Capitol Police was, wait a minute, I'm okay with you not bothering them, but why were we potentially going to be bothered? I mean, how is it they can march past these signs and we couldn't do it? And the answer was, well, those signs on that street were put up by Richmond, and Richmond didn't have the authority to put up those no gun signs. Huh. So, but I still don't know. I mean, I don't want anybody out there to get into trouble. So I would say probably not open carrying anywhere, right around the General Assembly or whatever. If I can find out more information on where it would be legal, I'll post something. I've got my own contacts, so I might see, based upon what happened with BLM 757 last year, if there is an area we could stay if the Capitol Police would confirm there is an area that we could define where you could be close and be able to open carry or carry at all. I'll be sure to share it with people. Because it is a travesty that we can no longer carry there. And again, some people have said, well, I don't want to go to Lobby Day if I can't carry. And then that's a catch-22, because if you don't show up, how are we supposed to fix the laws? You basically have to swallow it, go in, help us lobby, and let's get this stuff fixed as best we can. It would have been better if we had a good election, but
yeah. Bandit is asking, where is the General Assembly building? So it's where the old General Assembly building was, the corner of 9th and Broad. It is in relation to the Capitol. It's
northwest.
It is on the northwest side of the Capitol Square. It's actually on the north side of Capitol Square.
You can't miss it. It's a big building. I mean, it's it's nice and tall. You can't miss it. They did keep the old facade. They had a facade on there that had been there for a long time, and I guess to keep the character of that, They just kept the facade. They totally rebuilt the building behind it. I think they've added more floors. It might even go down below ground and stuff. Well, I think the other one did too. So anyhow, but they definitely have expanded that building. And in fact, the General Assembly used to be part. They used to also use some old courthouses. Was also part of that building. They built a new
Right.
building and they attached it. They got rid of all of that and just rebuilt the whole thing from scratch. It took them how many years now? 4 years, something like that, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh God, did I hate that old building? I just could not stand the temporary General Assembly building. That alone makes it worthwhile to go, just not to have to go into that building again.
Yep. So, how anti are the Dems this session coming up? That's a tricky question. So, there may be some that sympathize with us. The problem is that the Democrats seem to eat their young, if you allow me to use that expression. If you're a Democrat and you're in office and you don't follow the party line, they will primary you out or something. They will get you out of office. So the ones that are in office now seem to fall in lockstep with whatever the Democrat leadership says.
Yeah, and if you don't, well, like Chap Peterson, he would occasionally stand up and do stuff that was very principled, and they primaried him out. He was a moderate. He's gone.
Yep.
You got to give them credit for that stuff. Like on the national level, Democrats are like that too. And when a Democrat has control of the House or the Senate, they are going to do everything they can to further their agenda for the party, regardless. And when all too often when Republicans seem to have the national the power in either house, they're just happy to be there and they never really push. And that's a lot of the reasons we're in the situation we're in, not just in Virginia right now with the election, but going forward in the country. We just need to remind Democrats and Republicans alike that the Constitution is what the all-powerful document is. Doesn't matter what their feelings are or what they want.
Right. And to be clear, VCDL is nonpartisan. That being said, the Democrat Party has an anti-freedom agenda. They want to stomp on our rights, and notice that I call it our rights and our freedom, and it's not about guns. It's about control, and we need to take command of the language because they've co-opted so many words and turned them against us. Take a look at the bills in Congress and the Safer Communities Act and what was the latest one that just came up that had everybody choking and gagging. That
Elizabeth Warren's one there.
Yeah. So you can bet that whatever the acronym they call the bill by, it's going to do the exact opposite.
Right.
But the point I'm making here is that they're using language to influence the public, because the public, you think Congress doesn't read the bills? The public doesn't read the bills, even more so than Congress doesn't read the bills. So it's up to us as a free society to educate ourselves. And, people like Jared help us stay informed. But you're not going to get that stuff through the MSNBC or the lamestream media. So, Paul Woodall is asking about handicap parking, and I did want to bring up a point about the new building. It is handicap access friendly. So that was one of the things that I was told. The other thing that I was told is that all of the committee rooms now have the capability to stream the committee meetings. So if you can't get to Richmond to attend a committee meeting, you can sign up and not only watch it online, but you can sign up to testify online.
And of course, that doesn't do us any good lobby day. We need bodies down there on lobby day, warm bodies to remind them that we're here. CNT Design and Arms was asking what year did the media try to say that VCDL was a white supremacist event, lobby day. That was probably 2020.
Yeah.
The year that was the worst, absolute worst in history, white supremacist day, because it was so many minorities and everything else there. We had a slice of America there. So that kind of blew up in their face. They thought it was going to be something, and it didn't turn out to be anything like they thought.
I don't think we had a slice. I think we had the whole pie.
So, I think we did. I don't think we were missing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that day was a religious experience. If you missed Lobby Day 2020, you missed the chance of a lifetime. And
I'll go with religious experience. Yeah, there was nothing. I don't know if we'll ever have anything to truly. I hope we do, but I don't know if we'll have anything to match that in a while. Let's see. Bandit saying Dems have a mandate with a one-person majority. Yeah, that's a real mandate. Squeak in. And in Virginia, I don't know what I think there was one other state. Was it New Jersey that had elections? Jared, was New Jersey the other one? Yeah. And in Virginia, what swung the vote here, it seems pretty clear, was actually abortion. It wasn't guns, but abortion is what brought out a lot of the people voting for Democrats. So that gave them their one vote majority. I think if that had not been an issue, it would have been a very different election. But they really played that hard and heavy. Even Bloomberg's ads that were running in Virginia were abortion, abortion, abortion. Oh, and guns. Yeah, it was an afterthought. And but I don't know if that was the same in New Jersey. Probably not. I don't know.
They're doing that on a national level. They're doing that on a national level because they know that that's a hot topic that's getting more people out to vote, and there are people who are actually saying that they've voted, conservative in the past, but because of that one issue, they've actually voted with the Democrats. So as long as they have people come out and say that, they're going to keep hammering that home to get ultimate control across the country.
So Bandit has a statement here that he had a full-on argument with someone about it being racist because MLK was killed by a gun. And so being pro-gun on MLK Day is racist. And that's the absolute opposite. MLK, Dr. King was denied a carry permit. He was denied the ability to defend himself. Did that have something to do with why he was killed or how he was killed? I don't know, maybe. But maybe if he had been able to carry, either the person wouldn't have tried or he would have been able to defend himself. So
yeah, he was protected by some black deacons for, what was the last part of that? Deacons for something. And that was a group of black preachers and stuff that carried guns, and they were protecting him because he was denied the ability to protect himself. He certainly wanted it because he tried to get a permit. So sounds like somebody was trying to rewrite history when it comes to the MLK.
Oh, no. Who would do that?
Yeah, certainly not the other side. They wouldn't lie or twist anything. No.
Yeah.
So I would say something interesting kind of in that same vein, because I've had people say similar things to me. But what I think is really interesting about Lobby Day, and particularly like you were saying with Lobby Day 2020, was, really what Martin Luther King was really trying to fight for was, racial equality, everybody treated by the content of your character, not by the color of your skin. And I think that when you see all of these different groups of people all coming together for, to express their rights to their government, I think that that's the exact sort of thing that Dr. King would have liked to see. So I don't really like it when people say that either.
Yeah, he would have loved Lobby Day. It was a peaceful, that 2020 Lobby Day with that massive crowd, totally peaceful, totally. He would have loved it. That's what he believed in was peace. Yeah, I guess it was Deacons for Defense and Justice was the full name of the deacon.
Could be. So, Jared, how did you get into the Second Amendment activism thing?
Well, geez. So I grew up in a housing project, and in my growing up in my family, my grandfather and my uncle would go hunting all the time, and they had guns, but my grandfather never let any of the girls touch the guns, and as a result, all the grandkids, we were raised in an anti-gun families. My mom hated guns, and growing up in a project, I got to see people who needed to defend themselves quite regularly, sometimes by the hand of a gun or a machete and stuff like that. And it always stuck in my mind that, the firearm was a great equalizer. And then I became a police officer and got to see people victimized across the country, and saw sometimes when people were able to utilize that equalizer to protect themselves or other people in the society. And then I started my channel about a decade ago now, and the name Guns and Gadgets came because it was going to do gun reviews. And then I realized how, a cop's salary with some kids on special needs area, that it was really expensive to buy guns just to review them. So that didn't really pan out. So I would work in a couple Massachusetts specific law videos because I was always asked by friends, hey, is this legal in this state? Can we have this? Can I carry here or there? And I'd always done it for friends and friends of friends. But when I started to put out videos on specific laws, and that's back when Maura Healey was the Attorney General and she was reinterpreting the Massachusetts assault weapon ban, those videos kind of really took off. And then I would include one here or there, or California or New York, and those would pop. And I just saw that there were people like us that wanted the information but didn't know where to get it, how to find out about it. People really aren't good with reading Old English. It's like a foreign language to a lot of people, the way things are written and said. And being through 3 police academies and being force fed that through college, it's been something I'm really good at. So I just decided to bring the channel in that direction because I could take in that information pretty easily and then regurgitate it so that folks can actually understand what's being said in there, and then give them the fix. If you want to support it or you want to stop it, this is who you need to call. This is how you need to do it. This is what you need to say, and get people to realize that the Second Amendment is there for a reason. It's why we have a country, and if we don't fight for it, they're going to try to take it from us.
Yeah, and by teaching them also, when you're stepping through these bills and discussing them, you're also educating people into how to read a bill, and that of course they love to throw Latin and stuff in there as well, but still, you show them, and then how to look at the bill on your own. You put links so they can click and read the bill on their own. That's not being taught in schools. The people that need to know this are going to learn it from people like you and like we have here at the Academy.
So that leads me.
Just been, it's a passion. It's got to be a passion, otherwise nobody will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly something we do for fun, is it?
No.
But it does lead me into my next question, which is, what does the Second Amendment mean to you?
To me, it's the bastion of freedom. It's what keeps us free, both as an individual, as a community, and actually as a nation. Our forefathers knew that government has always, people want power, and when people have power, they want more power. The thirst is always there; it never goes away. And our forefathers knew that was the chances of us having a government that could potentially turn into what they fled in Europe. The chance was there. So we had that great equalizer. If we ever had to fight our own government again, people had the right to do it. And then we can defend ourselves, and we have that right. We don't have to, beg for forgiveness from someone who's trying to take our lives. We don't have to wait for time to make a phone call and wait for the police to arrive. It's everybody has a right when you're whether you believe in a creator or not, you have that right, and nobody gets to take your life away from you. And
I think you articulated something about being a police officer as well, and how you've been to the crime scenes. You've seen what happens when people can't protect themselves. I know when I was as a deputy, I remember one time an elderly lady that lived near me in the apartments I lived in at the time in San Antonio. Somebody was kicking in her door, and they were just about had the door off the hinges. She was a widow. She ran to the closet, took out a little old 22 rifle that her husband had owned. I don't even know if it was loaded. She swung the curtain back. There was a picture window by the door. She swung the curtain back, pointed the rifle at the guy kicking in her door. He stopped mid-kick, ran like as fast as he could. He was so busy looking back at her, he ran into a wall in the courtyard and stumbled from there bleeding and running away. When I got there, I didn't go, "Oh, you had a gun? You had no." It was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you had that gun. And I'm so glad that you're okay." Because I couldn't get here in time, and I'm glad that nobody got shot. But I'm damn glad you're here, and I'm sure you had the identical experience. You wanted to be there to help people. When you couldn't, you were happy when they protected themselves.
All the time. I used to teach people to I'd hold classes for the community and teach them how to to shoot and different ways of concealment. And that's one of the reasons I got into being a firearms instructor, was because there were people who had a need and there were no ways to fulfill it. So I just became part of the fix in my community. We've all see the headlines of incidents that are stopped by good guys and good gals with guns, and that doesn't happen without our inalienable right to keep and bear arms. And there are a lot of facets to a lot of our rights. Maybe I don't utilize all the rights that you might choose to, but that doesn't mean you get to tell me which rights I can and cannot have. And I just wish Americans would take that to heart. You might not like guns, that's fine, but you can't tell me that I can't have any. It's just like I don't think people should be driving Subarus. Doesn't mean Subaru should be the market. It's just, the Second Amendment, if that fails, if that falls, the country as we know it is done.
And that's why they want it to fall. They're desperately wanting it to fall. Those people that want a one world government, it's out there. It's clear. They talk about it. And they want it. They're basically traitors. They want the country to fall, and we just can't let that happen. We got generations that are depending on us today to make sure that they live in freedom. And if we fail, we failed a lot of people, much more than ourselves.
Well, here's one that'll warm your heart, Jared. Robert says that thank you for your channel, that you've gotten him to speak up and get more involved. That's
awesome, Robert. Thank you. That's why I do it. That is the reason I do the channel, is so that more people will get involved and realize just how easy it is, and sometimes all we need is that one person to make a stand, and the other people will stand too, because not everybody's a leader, but when they see one, they'll go to the end of the world for them. So I'm glad you did it, man. Thank you very much. It means a lot.
Yeah, and there's a reason they call it exercising your rights. It's one of those use it or lose it kind of things, You have to... I tell people sometimes that freedom is an action. You have to act free. You have to actively defend your freedom and be free. You can't just passively float along in life and expect that somebody else isn't going to step in and start dictating.
That'd be like walking around with cash in your hands, walking around all day thinking that nothing will happen to you. No, you've got to guard against that, because there are people that are going to want to take that from you, just like there are people that want to take our freedom away from us. The same thing. You got to guard it the same way.
Call the IRS.
So Tommy Me is saying the country is already gone. I don't think so.
No.
It's not in great shape, but it's up to us to restore it. I don't think we've passed that tipping point yet. There's enough people that are waking up, and look at all the people that follow Jared and make those phone calls and send those emails when he puts it out there, and the people on the VA alerts and stuff. It's a lot of times it takes a crisis to wake people up and get them moving. But I think we are at a point where people are seeing that they actually do need to be engaged and stay engaged.
I would argue as long as we have the right to keep and bear arms, it isn't over.
No, it's easy to get caught up in gloom and doom and think everything's bad. But if you look around, if you just stay in the Second Amendment community, we've had a lot more wins than we had losses. You know,
Yeah, there's been a shift, right? We've been sort of having problems legislatively lately, but now suddenly the courts have come in. So there's been this shift that way,
yeah.
where before the courts weren't doing much for us, and now all of a sudden they've stepped up, and so there's a battle going on. We're in a war to protect those rights. It's an absolute war, and there's going to be ups and downs and casualties, but we're still here. It's not over.
So, Philip, we're pushing 9 o'clock here. A couple things we want to get out there. One, Lobby Day is January 15th. Start meeting between the General Assembly building and the fountain is where you're going to start meeting your team leaders, and just join a team and go in and lobby. The team's leaders will have assigned offices. Make appointments with your senator and delegate for that day. Call ahead of time and make an appointment. The rally is at 10 o'clock this year, not 11. So 10 o'clock, be at the bell tower. Jared is one of our speakers. Dan Wass is going to be speaking. John Pierce, who is an attorney and a VCDL board member. He was on our last month's live stream. He's going to be speaking as well. Philip will be speaking, and I think there's a couple of other people. Eric Pratt, yeah. And as we add more speakers, they'll be put on that Lobby Day page, on the schedule page. The pre-Lobby Day dinner is the Sunday before, and there's a form online. The restaurant's already been arranged. So there's a form online where you can make your reservation, so we can give them a heads up and don't absolutely shock them when 75, 100 people come in for dinner all of a sudden. The monthly in-person meeting for December is not going to be at XCal, and it's not going to be on the third Thursday. It's on Wednesday the 20th at a library in Chesterfield, and there'll be a VA alert coming out about that really soon. What did I miss, Philip?
Not much. Again, if you go to the pre-lobby day dinner, you'll have a chance to meet Jared and some other people. A great opportunity to shake hands and have a few minutes to talk. But yeah, with the alerts have already had some of the information about the meeting on the 20th here in Chesterfield.
Prince William County meeting this coming week.
Yes. Yeah, that's what's the date on that?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
That is, check your VA alert. It came out Thursday or Friday in a VA alert, but it's Tuesday the 12th. Do you want to talk real quick about that, Philip?
Let me see here. No, I'm looking here. No, but it's just one more thing that's been going on.
They're looking at local gun control, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. They've been under a lot of pressure to ban guns in parks and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's one area that we're watching. There may be another one or two that come on board with more gun control in these localities. We had 17, then we went to 18 when Virginia Beach did a little bit. They didn't do a real bad one, but Virginia Beach came on board with some gun control. So it's still something we're having to watch carefully.
If you guys and gals who are listening to this and are getting frustrated by hearing these different localities starting to pass or look to push more gun control, be part of the fix. Run against these people. If you love the Constitution, run against these buffoons. We need more good guys and good gals who have the Constitution in their heart and care about America to start running for office.
Yep.
Yeah.
So while Bill's asking about team leader information, pretty soon, Bill, Christy was talking to me the other day. We're going to set up a Zoom for the team leaders to ask questions, get oriented, that sort of thing. Um, if you want to sign up to lead a team at Lobby Day, you don't have to have attended a Lobby Day before, but it does help. My first ever Lobby Day, I showed up, and some of the team leaders didn't show up, so I led a team my very first year going to Lobby Day. It's not hard. All you have to be able to do is hand them the packet and talk about a bill that you're passionate about. So, um,
Ah,
but
there is one.
go ahead.
I'd say there is one too before I forget. Henrico. Henrico
Okay,
is the big one that's coming up.
that's right.
We've been keeping an eye on Prince William, but Henrico is actually looking at a full gun ban in their buildings. So that's we've had this off before. They did an illegal gun ban at one time, and we had a big turnout, and they walked away from it. This was about 10 years ago, but they walked away from it because of basically the pounding that they got from citizens from Henrico saying this is not right. But they're looking
That's
at
what it
doing it
was. Yeah.
again. Yeah.
I said
So
Prince William. It's Henrico. I got
well,
confused.
Prince
Prince
William, we've been
William was.
watching. You're right about that, but yeah, it's Henrico that's the one. So if you live in Henrico, you got family or friends, or you work there or whatever,
That
a
one is
good
Tuesday
turnout.
night. Yeah.
A good turnout would be helpful because they are looking at gun bans in their buildings. It was interesting that they didn't take on any gun bans. As you know, we beat the city of Winchester in lawsuits for park ban and permitted events, and the Henrico didn't touch either one of those. So they were smart that way, but they're going after everything else. And again, we should be having two more lawsuits I'll be able to tell you about soon, and maybe a total of four coming up, two local and two at more of the statewide. So this is
Yeah.
all coming. We're not taking this lying down, but it takes time. But boy, if you could help with Henrico, that would be great.
Yeah. Tuesday night is Henrico. My mistake for saying Prince William. Jared, I want to thank you for putting out there about HB2 and SB2 because that got a lot of people engaged again this year. I mean,
Good.
we knew it was coming when we saw the election results. We knew, and of course, the first day they could file, it was the second bill filed in both House and Senate. So, um,
And they've only filed like 11 bills total so far. So the first few right out of that tells you
yeah,
what the agenda is going to be.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
again, they're wanting to take our guns. That's what that bill does. But they're going to
But
say they're not, but they are, and it's clear that they are.
anyway, we need as many people as we can at Lobby Day. So tell your friends, tell your families, drag them kicking and screaming if you have to, but get them down to Capitol Square on the 15th and get them to lobby for their rights. You know, Jared putting that up woke a lot of people up, but we need a lot more to wake up. So,
Yeah, just tell them
um,
if I can drive all the way from Tennessee, they can drive to Richmond too.
That's right. He's
there you
coming from
go.
Tennessee. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, yeah, that's going to be quite a few hour trip there. Al, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to respond to Wild Bill. I will be there at the government building on Tuesday. I'm a Henrico citizen, so I was gonna remind you guys about it if you didn't bring it up. So I just wanted to say I will be there if anybody wants to learn any more about the academy. But I also wanted to address, there was a comment earlier on asking about what some of the plans for 2024 with the academy are. So I kind of just wanted to, I guess, update folks about the internships that we have going on, particularly the legislative and the legal internships, going really in the same kind of vein as the lobby day. Um, our legislative internshipper, you will actually work with Philip and with our other lobbyists um, to lobby more so than just on lobby day, but like throughout the entire session, really. So you'll learn how to actually, to do this more so than just, saying, hey, I want to go out for a day. I might participate for the rally outside, but you'll really learn, how do you actually lobby, like almost like professionally, the way that to get things done. Um, so we're actively recruiting for that. I would say go to the website, vcdl.org/academy internships, to learn more about them. Also, the legal internship that we are recruiting for. Obviously, with the Bruin decision, a lot of laws are being looked at, in regards to either trying to enact gun control or trying to fight against them. With the legal internship, what we're trying to do is create an entire database of historic law in America, so that whenever the next case comes up where they're trying to ban guns based off of whatever justification that they have for that reason, we have ammunition and case law already to go against it. So those are, and if you want to apply to that, it's the same, Academy internships, vcdl.org/academy internships. So please, sign up. If you know folks that are law students or in college that want to sign up, please email us. And even if you're not in college, we don't really, necessarily turn anybody away. We're really trying to make an army of citizen legislators. So we hope that you will join us in that fight.
I see Richard Wrenchhead is saying, asking if we'll be lobbying at the governor's mansion by any chance. Well, we don't ever lobby at the mansion, but we do lobby a governor when he's in a position to either support or oppose a bill. I think GOA had people contacting the governor early about HB2 and SB2. I've been sort of waiting on that. My thinking is it doesn't matter. Doesn't hurt at all to contact them early. And if you want to do that and say no, please don't do any gun control. That's fine. But I definitely we'll step it up if there's any bills that are heading to his desk. We'll have time to make sure that our voices are heard by the governor. But he's yet really been in much of a position where we've had to lobby. It's just because no gun bills really got to his desk over the last 2 years. But we'll see what happens this year. The 2024 is going to be a little bit different than we've seen in a while.
So Clayton Vague is asking that since the lobby day is on the 15th and the second Sunday actually falls on the 14th in January, because January starts on a Monday. Should we do the virtual meeting on the 7th instead of the 14th? And that actually sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
Yeah, we could probably do that. Have to look at the calendar. Yeah, that would probably make sense. There'd be no point in live streaming for the pre-lobby day stuff. Excuse me, but yeah. So we'll have to think about that, Clayton. Good point.
All right, guys. Well, Jared, I want to thank you immensely. I know you had promised your wife to unplug for the weekend, so I hope we didn't get you into trouble.
No,
but
that's all right.
I absolutely enjoyed having you on, and I hope you consider doing it again sometime. And I look forward to seeing you in January at Lobby Day.
It would be my honor, and I can't wait to see you all again.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We actually kept it under an hour and a half today, unless anybody has any questions. Let me just scroll through the chat real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything.
Quite a few people were, thanking Jared for being here. He got quite a few of those. Yep,
yeah, and
right there.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas to everybody. Whatever it is that you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate, then happy December. So let's see. I don't see anything else. I'll go through the comments in the chats and answer anything that we missed, but I hope y'all have a great rest of your evening. Remember to click all the buttons and do all the algorithm things, and share this with people so they can listen on their commute or whatever. And thanks again, Jared, for joining us.
My pleasure.
You guys Have a great evening, and we will
Yeah.
see you on the
Right
next
before,
one.
yeah, the next one will be right before Lobby Day. So a week
Yep.
before.